What is up, everyone? How are we doing? What is today? Wednesday. What's up,
Wednesday.
Andre? I
What's
didn't
up,
even
man?
know.
It's
I
been a
can't remember
minute.
what day it is. Yeah, no, it's great to finally have you back on and get to chat, talk some new reports, new features going on,
Yep.
just what's going on in Edgeful's world. Most of you know, if you follow me, you know I use Edgeful day in and day out. I'm always looking for more things, and there's always new stuff coming out that a lot of times I see it and I'm like, ooh, I need to spend some time on that. But hey, whenever I have Andre around, it's like, okay, let's just dive into it. But
Yep.
Andre, how are you, man? It's great to have you.
Good, man. Good. It's been good. July has been good in terms of trading. I feel like things have been a little bit more predictable. I don't know about you, but I feel like it's been a little bit easier. This is like July has been a good month for like predictable price action, like following the data and just applying like the actual reports to your trading.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like, obviously, March, April, even parts of May were kind of like, well, I don't know. It was just things, so many things are kind of outside of the norm, and I trade
Yeah.
so much better in the norm. And then now, usually at all-time highs, I like honestly, I hate trading all-time highs, but
Same.
usually all-time highs is like a struggle for me. But it's actually been a little smoother this time around, so
Yeah.
I'm enjoying it overall.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good. It's for me, like when we're at all-time highs, I'm using IB buy levels or buy levels, previous days highs and lows, like previous week's ranges as my levels. Obviously, like previous closes, like because there's obviously no price action, no structure above. That's like the way that I do it is I'm like, okay, we're gonna go to the orb extension or the IB extension or whatever else. But it's good, man. It's having that data
Yeah,
and
it's almost
understanding how
like
to apply it is like huge.
yeah, and it's almost like the market like behavior is just like literally buy every dip that happens. So you like almost lean that side, and then you look for the
Yeah,
data to kind of line up
yeah,
and stuff. But I don't know, it's been interesting. But I'd love to dive into it a little bit here and see like what's new, what's going on, what do you got to show us today?
yeah. So we have a bunch of new report. We haven't released like really new reports in a while, but we did actually do like a huge batch of reports recently. So there's a few updates. One of them is we have the Edgeful algos, right? The Edgeful algos right now, they will only give you the alerts, right? So it'll tell you get long, take profit, stop out, get short, take profit, stop out, right? You need to be there to physically take the trades yourself. When the alert goes off, you have to enter. So for the people who are either driving or at work or they can't be at their screens, they don't work from home, they have family, whatever else, we're building the automation to where you can plug in your prop firm or your actual broker, like your real like capital. So pretty much the alert will come to Edgeful. You'll plug in your broker to Edgeful, and then like we'll send the trade for you. We're not going to do any discretion, right? Like we're not going to like randomly trade anything. But the way that you customize your algos is what is actually going to happen. So we don't have any input on what happens. You decide this is my risk, this is my profit target, this is like whatever else, and then we just route the trades for you. So, sorry if you can hear my dog, but we will route the trades for you. So we're just a messenger, right? That's hopefully coming in the next couple of weeks. Can you hear my dog right now?
Just a little bit, just a little bit. It's like the Amazon guy's probably coming by or something.
God. Okay, he stopped. So at least he listens. So pretty much like we're going to be the messenger, right? So there's no more deer in the headlights. There's no more second guessing your trades. There's no more hesitating on your entries or your exits or like or whatever else. Like we're going to do everything for you based on the settings that you pick, based on your risk profile, based on how aggressive you want to be with your targets, right? It's not like we're not telling you, here's the holy grail, this is what to do. You go through and you do it based on your personality, right? So that's one of the major things. One of the reasons that we haven't released too many reports is because we've been working on that and building that out. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. No, honestly, I think that's great for a lot of people that, if you're sitting there reading data, you're reading price action, reading a lot of things, and like we know that traders struggle with like the emotions, right? And
Yeah.
and they overthink things, overcomplicate things, or yeah, I know a lot of people that will dissect a trade setup very, very nicely, but like when it comes to the like letting it play out or trusting it, they start over like tinkering and overthinking
Yeah.
within the trade, and this kind of like
Yeah.
removes a lot of that.
Yeah, 100%. And that's the whole thing, right? I've been saying it for forever. Trade with data, not your emotions. So like your emotions are not reliable. Your discretion is not reliable. The best hedge fund manager in the entire world, Simons or Simmons, I don't know how to pronounce it, but Jim Simons, purely algo trades. And he always says your discretion should never be applied to. So for them, Renaissance Technologies is the firm. He always says that you cannot simulate discretion. So if someone that goes in they had a bad morning, they didn't sleep well, they got into an argument, whatever it is, they were in traffic, they might trade differently based on like their feelings for that day. So for us, like we want to make sure that you can actually trade with the data as closely as possible, and that's where the automation is going to come in. So that's one thing, and that's the reason that we haven't pushed any new reports. But now we have reports that are we have actually a few new reports, and the one that I want to talk about is called the open to close range. So what is this measuring? First of all, we're going to go and we're going to plot out today's opening price in the New York session. Right here, I'm going to make it green. You can see my screen, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now what this report is measuring, let me clean that one more time. I'm going to make this green. What this report looks at is how often is price going to close within a certain range of the opening price, right? So right now, the default that we have set is 1% from the open. So that would mean if I go to I'm just going to plot this out here quickly. Price range, go right here, 1% higher. Okay, well, I'm actually going to make it lower. So I'm going to lower it to be, call it 0.5%, because it's going to be a little more realistic. So how often is price going to close within 0.5% of the opening price? So what this means, what you can see here is that almost 60% of the time in the last 6 months, NQ will close this session within 0.5% of the opening price. So where is your boundary for the day? Is going to be within this range, 0.5% to the upside, 0.5% to the downside. Option sellers, I'm not sure how many option sellers are watching this. This is your dream come true. Because if you can just sell the strikes, so like, let's move this out to be like 0.75, right?
Oh yeah, because you're saying, okay, well, I can more times than not, we're going to close within a certain amount, a certain range. So if you're an option seller, you just go beyond that range, and
Exactly.
you can almost condor it. You could,
Exactly.
or you're at the lows, go ahead and sell put spreads down there, or credits, call spreads up at the
Exactly.
top.
Exactly. So you can see here, closed within 0.75 of the open, almost 60. So actually, I read it inverse, but 60% of the time, it's going to close within this range here. So this is pretty much telling you how often can I expect price to close within a certain range. It sets up every single day, but this is like, for the people who like ATR, this is going to be really useful to you too, because this is like another thing where it's like, what is my expected range on the day? Where can I expect price action to move? And this is the report where you can go and like change your settings. You can also filter for different day types. So you can filter for only days. Let's say you're really confident today is going to be a red day. You can say, okay, I only want to look at red days, right? So you click on red, and then now you can see that, again, 60% of these red days will close within this area here. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's also interesting. Look where our exact low is right now. Like it just happened to
Yeah, I
measure
know.
out that way too.
Yeah,
No, it makes perfect sense. And like, one, just to take this a step further for a lot of like traders, I know a lot of people, like when they first get going trading, they trade breakouts, right? And then it
yeah,
feels like as people get more seasoned, they start trading reversals a lot more, or
yeah,
like revert to the mean type. And that was
yeah,
a big thing that I kind of changed like early in my trading journey, that things go too far one way or the other. I just look to play them back towards the middle. Like even if the trend
exactly,
is up overall, which it always is in the market for the most part, but if it gets too hot to one side, or too hot to the downside too, I'm trying to trade it back to the mean. And this is like that exact same thinking is like, okay, it's unlikely to continue further than where we're at, so I want to kind
exactly.
of look to go back the other direction.
Yeah, yeah, it's exactly That's exactly what this is. So that's the open to close range. Now the name isn't really fantastic, but you can see here like all the different days. So you can filter for whatever else you want, like red days, green days, whatever else. But this is actually a really interesting report that I was like excited to see what the results were, especially like if you're an options seller. I think that this is one of like your dreams come true, right? You understand the range, where's price going to close. You sell those like 0 or 1 day SPX credit spreads, and then you have a very high probability of price closing in a certain direction. And you can obviously layer in other things like the screener and overall bias from other reports, which will help you determine, okay, today's more likely to be a red day. Now I'm going to use this red day filter on this report. So there's that.
Yeah, and like I almost look at this as like you're almost looking at this like as a win rate, right? Like you know, like just okay, if I look at the last however many, what do we have this set on? 58
6 months.
Oh wait, you went to red though. Yeah.
Oh,
if you go to
yeah,
both sides.
Yep.
Because I was counting the days. I was like, well, that didn't add up. But there we go. Yeah. Last 6 months. Last 6 months. Look, I mean, 64 basically. If you round it, 64% of the time. I mean, 64% win rate's actually pretty solid. I mean, you mentioned hedge funds earlier, and they're looking at can we win 58% of the time? They only need the arbitrage, right?
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I just switched it back to all days, and 66% of the time it's going to close within that 1%. And like, if you trade Tesla, for example, you can obviously look, and now this is different, right? This is the opposite of NQ, where it's 65% it's going to close outside of the 1%.
So like you can immediately look at Tesla and say, hey, this is like I want to take the opposite strategy. Maybe I don't want to play this one back to the middle. Tesla loves to trend.
Exactly.
And there's other ways to do that instead of doing like credit spreads or put spreads. You could actually just butterfly it out or what's it? What do they call that? Straddle. That's what it is. Yeah, long straddle.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing. And like, you'd be shocked. Like, nobody would think, oh, QQQ or the NASDAQ will respect that range. And then Tesla's going to be literally the opposite. Like, you'd think that it would be within a certain range. So I think this is a great report, especially if you trade options or if you trade futures, whatever else. Like, you want to trade that reversal. Sorry if you can hear my dog again, but you want to trade that reversal. You don't want to expect those continuous running days. If it does happen, which obviously it does happen here. You can just like, that's the cost of doing business, right? That's the cost of trading. Like you're like, nobody has 100% win rate. So that's how you can use this one.
Well, and as you're trading and you start learning win rates and probabilities and stuff, and you start actually doing the math on it, it makes perfect sense. It's like how, I mean, when you actually look at numbers, it's like, okay, you can argue when people say, well, 9 times out of 10, this works, or this is a reversal, this pattern or whatever, this bull flag, 7 out of 10 times it's going to go. Okay, no, those aren't, you can't quantify those, but you can actually quantify, if this, then this data points, this happens this many times out of this many days, here's your percentage.
It's I think that like relating to the trading space, that blindly listening to like, oh yeah, 7 out of 10 times, 8 out of 10 times, whatever it is, 80%, 85% of the time. Sorry about that, but
you're good.
It's the biggest curse of the trading space. Sorry, I'm gonna mute for a second.
He's fired up. He's trying to tell you to short right now. That's what he's trying to tell you.
He's trying to tell me that there's a guy spraying for bugs outside for mosquitoes in Florida. That's why he's freaking out.
There you go.
So now he stopped. But so that's the important thing, is like, you cannot just take people's word for it, because even if they're right, let's say they did their own analysis, that doesn't hold over time. Like, you've seen it firsthand. How much do these stats change? And that's the important piece. Like, let's say they did actually go and do an analysis where they say, no, I did it, right? That was 3-4 months ago. You don't know what it is now. You can't just blanket apply that now.
The orb used to, like, if you go back to last fall, the last fall or last summer, like the orb was like pretty strong stats. And then all of a sudden nowadays, like it seems like we literally double break the orb like every day.
I'm going to show you something crazy. So I say this all the time. Q1 2024, I'm only bringing this up because I know the stats. Q1 2024 ES, 80% double break, right? This is no brainer.
That's
Wait for one
insane.
side to break, trade the reversal to the opposite side. That's the first 3 months, the Q1 of 2024. This is like the easiest money ever. Then of the same year, you go to Q4. So you go to October to December, and that stat is cut almost in half to 50%. Now it's a coin toss on whether it's working or not. So like,
Yeah, that was exactly. I couldn't remember the exact numbers. I'm glad you pulled up the
yeah,
example because I had this discussion with someone the other day. They were like, "No, like I've back tested my orb strat," and I'm like, "Okay, you've back tested it when? Like, are you still back testing it? Because the data is like the market's constantly, it's dynamically changing. There's
100%.
new behaviors to the market all the
Yeah,
time.
yeah. And that's why you need something like this. And like, I know you know the story, but I used to do this in Excel. And when you do this in Excel, you have to, like, I had to keep buying new price data. Like intraday price data is super expensive. Like for me, it was $60 just to buy a new file of price data for one stock. So if I wanted to buy it on Tesla, I'd have to buy it. And then 3 months later, obviously it'd be stale. So I'd have to buy it again. And if I wanted to do NVIDIA or SPY or QQQ, I'd have to keep buying it. And it was like $60, $60, $60, like over and over again, just to update, not even to do anything else, but just to update my like reports in Excel. And I was like,
Right.
this is like it's not worth it anymore. Because I also didn't even know if what I was doing is going to be worth, like, if the reports that I was building and I was spending hours and hours building were going to even mean anything. So like 50-50 is like not super helpful, obviously. If anything, 50-50 to me is like, I'm not going to use this as a confluence, or like, I can't use this. Like if I think that the orb double break is high probability, like now I can't use that if it's 50-50. So it's just such a nightmare. And that's why, I mean, that's literally exactly why we built Edgeful, is so we can give people continuous data so they're always in touch with the recent market environments and they can actually adapt to the markets rather than being like, oh, I should have expected more trend days, or I should have expected more reversals or whatever else, like in hindsight. Like the only way to see it is to see it like in real time and how these things change over time.
Yeah, and like I since I look at it every day, like all of a sudden I'll
Yeah. Yeah.
notice like, wait a second, that looks way different than it did like a few
Yeah.
weeks ago. You know, I'll
Exactly.
pull up a
Yeah.
stat, I'll go over to Spy or something and pull up a stat. I'm like, wait, that's stronger than I remember, or that
Yeah.
yeah, that used to be much stronger. It used to be 75%, now it's down to like 60s or something. It's like,
Exactly.
okay, something's changing here.
That was the gap fill. That's been the gap fill. Like the gap fill on
That's it. Yeah, the
Spy,
gap fill.
the gap fill on Spy, like it was never in the 50s before. Like when you and I first met, like I mean, whenever it was, the beginning of last year, this was not even close to the 50s. Like
Yeah,
I couldn't even imagine it at the 50s because it was
oh, it was like
easily in the
70s.
65. Yeah, exactly.
We-
65, 70.
Yeah, you have, so like for the example, or just so for the audience knows, like used to, you would see if there was any type of gap, even if it was a 0.5% gap, it would come down. It would just almost like make a beeline straight for it,
Yep.
and it would bounce off of it. Like that was a bread and butter play for
Yep.
2024.
Yep.
And it's changed. And like I've noticed, just like if you look, because like I have the indicator on my charts,
Yep.
and I'll notice we'll have a gap that we won't fill it today, and then tomorrow we'll fill today's gap and leave a gap tomorrow, and then the next day
Yep.
after that we'll go fill that one. Like it's like it takes like a day or 2 days later. Like look, see that there's a gap right back there to the left, right there, gap. We didn't fill it till the next day.
Yeah. Yeah. And
It-
so what he's talking about is this was the gap here. So this was so let's just zoom in for a second. This is the previous session, previous day's close. You wanted to expect price to come down here today, but it didn't happen. But then later it happened the next day. Like we don't have any stats on the next day stuff. So like if this one didn't fill, how often does it fill the next day? Which actually could be interesting. But this is like, it's changed, right? Like even today, it's changed. Like this was I mean, it was probably a decent size. So like 0.4%, that's like not that crazy of a gap. And it's probably not going to fill today based
no,
on
a
this
year
price action
ago.
here.
Yeah, probably not. I mean, a year ago, that gap's. I mean, it's probably going to beeline fill it, or it's going to go down there, bounce where it did, and then like the next little hump is going to go down and fill that gap.
Yeah.
But the market's changed, and the market's
Yeah.
always changing. I think that's the key point here.
Yeah. 100%. So that's like one of the reasons why, I mean, people just always are like, well, why can't I just screenshot it? Like, why can't I screenshot Edgeful? And my answer is like, it doesn't last that long. Like, you need to make sure that you're keeping up. Like, yes, you can,
It would
if
be
you want
like
to screenshot, go ahead.
it'd be like screenshotting a daily chart of like Spy or Tesla or
Yeah,
something, and then like looking at it like 2 months later. It's like, wait, you don't have any idea what's happened in the last little bit of time.
exactly. Exactly. And that's like one of the craziest ideas to me. I mean, like, there's like typically a type of person, like the people who are willing to actually like go through the data and like get those 5 or 6 reports that they like and have them bookmarked and go through them and like use them every day. Like, those types of people are always the successful ones. And the people that are like, just tell me exactly what to do, tell me exactly what reports to look at, like whatever it is, like those people are always the ones that are like, well, why can't I screenshot it? How long is this going to last? Like, it's always just the questions. And I'm like, dude, how are you not going to, like, if you're serious about trading and you really genuinely want to like make this your living, and you're not going to have the data, like, dude, good luck. Like, good luck, man.
Yeah,
Like, it's just not going to work long term. It's just not going to work. And you cannot trade these markets without some form of data. Like, your gut feeling is not going to work over time. Literally, the biggest institutions in the world, like like their entire business model is based on data. It's not like some guy sitting there and like mystically
yeah. They don't hire like,
predicting.
okay, these four guys are smart. Let's let them make every decision. No,
Exactly.
they're supervising, but everything is quantifiable.
Yeah.
They're because like, how do you hold somebody accountable for that? And I mean, yeah, it's definitely big money is definitely using analytics probably for 90+% of what they do.
100%. Yeah, 100%. It's without question, without question. But the another report that we just released is previous session correlation. So
Ooh,
what this looks at is, so I'm gonna add my lines to my market sessions indicator so we can see this this diagonal line. If it's downwards, that means yesterday was red. If it's upwards, like this one, yesterday was green. This is actually, I don't want to show the results yet, but this is a really interesting report. And what this does is it says, if yesterday was green, how often does today close green? If yesterday was red, how often does today close red? And what you can see is that there is like almost no relationship between yesterday closing red versus green to today. Like 59% and 57% of the time. So like, the people that say yesterday was green or yesterday was red, like today's going to continue, like that goes out the window.
yeah, that's actually really interesting. There's no correlation there at all.
Yeah. I mean, like, you can use it like for 59%, like, okay, yes, you can use it, but like, it's not something that you need, that you're going to be like, this is the opening candle continuation or the IV buy rejection or the whatever else. This is not one of those things where you can rely on this. This is like the third layer of confluence you can add rather than just the single one.
What's interesting is there's like, I know everyone uses these reports like in different ways, right?
Yeah.
There's different, I mean, me and you can look at the same report and have 2 to 3 different strategy ideas based off of it. Like, that's the beauty of
Yeah.
it. But one thing that I find interesting, there's a lot of reports on here that basically just like debunk like theories that I've heard around, X and discords and stuff,
Yeah.
where like this, like right here, like, oh, well, you're going to get a 2-3 bar up here, or was it three white soldiers or whatever, all these terms. And I'm like, okay, but I can look at this report and say that's actually not happening. Like 50-50. I see something that's 50-50 and it just tells me there's no edge right there at all.
Exactly.
Literally take that data point, not throw Edgeful in the trash, but take that data point and whatever idea or if you're trying to build confluence, take that piece of confluence and just throw it in the trash because it means nothing.
Yeah. And it's so important to understand that. Like, initially, when we would build reports, if it was 50-50, like, I mean, exactly like what we have here, I used to be like, oh, like this is not going to be a really, like, people aren't going to be able to really apply this report to their trading. And the way to actually apply any report, whether it's the gap fill or the IB or the orb, is if it's 50-50 or close to it, this is something that you cannot use as confluence. Exactly what you just said. If you heard
Yeah,
some
yeah,
guy
yeah.
on Twitter, if you heard some guy on YouTube talk about this strategy, if yesterday's green, today's going to close green X% of the time, and you see it here actually that it's not the case, that's where you can say, actually, I cannot use yesterday's performance as today's, like as a bias for today. And I know that you like to use the previous close to close calculation. So like this one is default to open to close, but we
Yeah.
do have the other one. So like now what this is doing, which I'll show in a second, is it's checking if today closes above or below the previous session's close. And there's, again, no relationship practically. I mean, if yesterday closed red, it's more likely to close green today marginally. But so what this is saying is, instead of determining a red day by the angle of this line from the open to the close, it's saying, is today closing below yesterday's close? So instead of being where today's open, and ironically, this is not a good example because it opened at the
Opened at the
yeah. What are the odds? So instead of saying, is price closing above this point, which is today's open, it's saying, is price going to close above or below this point here? So you can see this was a green day in both instances. Sometimes it's not the case, but that's this is a good example here. So here you can see previous session close is right over here. So this green line is previous session's close. So technically, if you're looking at this previous close to close performance, this would count as a green day because it closed above the previous close, right? But if you're using the
even though
open
the
to the
candle was
close,
red.
exactly. If you're using the open to the close, this would be a red day. So this is the important distinction. Pretty much, typically, previous close to close is considering the gaps, right? The gap up or down, whereas open to the close is completely ignoring the gaps. So
Yeah, that's an important distinction on some of the reports. So like the opening candle continuation, or the
previous day's range
like
is a
previous day
big one for
range.
that. Yeah, I
Yeah,
know
the
that
previous day's range.
you use previous close to close for this, right?
Yeah, because I like to see, are we going to close green on the day? Not, I don't like where we opened on previous day's range is not as, in my brain, just the way I use it, it's not
Yeah.
as like that big of a deal. I want to know, okay, we take out the previous day's range to the upside or downside, either one.
Yeah.
Where are we going to close in regards to yesterday? Like that's my thought process.
Yeah.
Like where we closed yesterday, if we take out the previous day high, we should close above that somewhere.
Yeah.
Or above the close, or above where we closed yesterday. So
exactly.
That's the way I look at that one. And then on the like opening candle continuation, I just pay attention, where did we start the day, and where do we go from that start of the day? So it's like there's two distinctions there that make a huge difference. But when you learn those little pieces, and it's not hard to learn, but you just learn those little pieces, and it's like, okay, these are two reports that are based, one of them's based off of yesterday's close, one of them's based off today's open. Segregate those in your mind and just mark those on your chart, which the indicators do for me. So I'm good. That's why I have the gap fill on my chart every single day. And then I just pay attention to where price opens. So it's so easy.
100%. Yeah. And if you use that previous close the way you do for this report, 85% of the time when you break previous day's high, it'll close above that previous day's close. 70% of the time, if you break the previous day's low, it will close below the previous day's close. Now, if you switch back to the other one, to the open to the close, the previous day's high is still strong, but the previous day's low is not strong at all.
No, and the stats are way different.
Way different.
Yesterday on QQQ or NQ was a really good example of this.
Yeah.
Like yesterday, we moved down, we took out the previous day's low. So I was looking at like QQQ, like right there, previous day's low, right from the open. And you look at where we came back to. So that was, not only was that previous day's low, but I was also saying, okay, that's a key spot. And then also I was like, okay, I'm not expecting price to come back up to where we closed, which you see is up much higher. But the entire day, I was like, okay, if I'm long, I'm not targeting up there. I'm basically targeting where, obviously, you see we rejected like 5 times.
Yeah, 100%. So these are like two of the more popular reports that we added, more of the important reports that we added. We also added a few like by size and like by time reports. But the other thing that I want to talk about is this screener, right? I think that this is for any trader, regardless of if you trade futures, crypto, forex, whatever, or whatever else, the screener. Let me change this to all. The way that I have mine set is always using the daily bias template right here. There are 4 reports that make up the daily bias template: opening candle continuation, IB buy rejection, and previous day's range. So looking at this, right, our opening candle continuation for today is kind of mixed, right? If you just sort the report here, you have 6, you have 6 here that are bullish and the rest are bearish.
Just
So
pause. I look at that and I automatically think chop day, and then just go look at your chart for today's action.
Yeah, let's look at today. I mean,
it's chopping.
It's just been
you have
like
different names pulling in different directions that creates chop.
Yeah,
this is what keeps me out of trouble.
Exactly. And that's where this type of price action, we also have Google and what was the other one? Microsoft?
Tesla.
Oh, Tesla earnings today. So like, I'm not even surprised that this happened today. And you scroll down.
It starts to add up, right? Because like you can think about, okay, what's big picture context of the market? What's going on? Where are we at, and what is the market waiting on some like major key data in the next few days?
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. And then I also can look at what's actually happening under the hood, if you will, on this right here, and I see the exact same thing.
Yeah, and so opening candle is pretty split, right? IB is totally neutral. There's no breaks yet. This is like, you can't use this just yet. IB buy rejection is almost all bearish except the 3. Then you scroll down, previous day's range is either neutral or bullish. So what do we have here? A lot of mixed signals. So this is a day where you say, I'm going to stay out of big trades. So like either you size down or you paper trade or you widen your stops. You expect a little bit of choppy price action. You pull in your profit targets. And what's nice is that this sets up this screener, as obviously every single day you have it available to where you can go and say, okay, what's going on right now? What are my expectations? And what we're going to add is something at the top that's going to pretty much going to be like how bullish or how bearish is today. It's going to be like a sentiment meter, I'll show you actually quickly right here. So if you look at this is what it's going to, this is not a designed version. We're obviously going to get it to be like actually designed, but right here, you can see, like theoretically, it would say, okay, today 75% of everything is saying bullish. Of all the bias that you have, 75% is bullish, 26% is bearish, or whatever this is.
I'm so excited for this.
This is not actually 26%.
When you start showing me stuff, I get excited, right? And this is one of those things we've talked about this offline of like multiple times. This is the one I was like, a quantifiable score on what the day looks like, and especially, and we talked about this just a few moments before we went live here, especially on something like NASDAQ. If you trade NQ or QQQ, you have, there's only 100 stocks total, but you have basically a top 10 that are very heavily weighted. Very, very heavily weighted. You think about, obviously your NVIDIAs, your Mag 7s, your Microsoft, Apple, but also, Broadcom, some of those in there, but your Mag 7 names, and then I add Broadcom, which is Avgo, I add Netflix, and I add Costco, which a lot of people forget. Costco is weighted in the NASDAQ pretty heavily. It's in that top 10. And I compare all these and I say, okay, are all these doing something? Because these are what's actually moving the NASDAQ. These 10 stocks will move the NASDAQ more than anything. So I want to see what are these guys doing? And if we can get a score on this, like this is another game changer just coming, about to come out to us all.
Yeah, and this should be out pretty soon. It's not going to be really hard for us to do. We just, obviously the design on this is like something I like mocked up quickly, but obviously like our designer is going to make it pretty, like make it in line and like on brand with Edgeful. But this I think is going to be really useful because it'll be very easy for you to quantify what is the actual bias today. So like if you're not comfortable with anything less than a 60% bullish bias, then you're like, okay, I'm hands off today. It's right there. I see it every day. But yeah, that's the update right now. That's what the updates to the new reports, the screener, the update to the screener right here, this overall sentiment for today. And yeah, I don't have much else here.
Yeah, no, I love that because that's what I'm sitting there looking at. Like, the score thing I'm super excited about,
Yeah,
and some of those other reports, like you said, there's new reports coming out all the time.
yeah,
So whenever a new report comes out, like I usually I'm like, okay, what is it doing? What is it? And then it's funny, the example that came out earlier was one of those like, okay, this is something I hear people say, traders say all the time, and then I turn around and I look at the actual data and I'm like, okay, I cannot use that as a confluence at all.
yeah,
And if you
exactly.
are, you're cheating yourself. So
Yeah,
like I think that's huge. And the amount of different offerings that you guys have at this point, I mean, you guys started with like, I don't know, I remember like 8 to 10 reports maybe,
yeah,
and now it's like I get on here sometimes and I'm like I'm almost like swimming a little bit, but I bookmark the ones I like, or if there's a new one, I just bookmark it. You see Andre
yeah,
over there on the right side of his screen, you see the bookmarks. So easy to get to quickly. Which
yeah.
when you guys redesigned this website, that's what I loved. It made the, what do you want to call it? Well, we're getting
Navigation.
rippy right here.
Whoa,
We got news.
whoa. There must be news. What's going on here? What happened? What just happened?
What news is this?
A 60.1 minute candle on NQ. What just had? Do you have something? Did you find it?
That's what I'm
Oh
trying to figure
wow.
out.
Isn't it crazy? Like Twitter is the place to go for this to like find out what just happened.
There is no news out here yet.
Yeah, this is a 60.1 minute candle. That is insane. Over 60.1 minute candle. But yeah, that's kind of insane,
It's got to be
honestly.
a fade, right?
You think?
Well, there's no news.
And well, we will figure it out.
Financial Times says EU and US are close to a tariff deal.
Very good.
There you go. I'm the first one to have it every time.
First one to
All
have it.
right.
You heard it here first. There it is. All right. Are you fading that?
No, not an EU tariff deal. That's probably a hammer long.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, it was a pleasure as always. Appreciate you. Also, one last thing, we are going to be able to bookmark sub-reports soon, which will help you. I know you like a lot of the sub-reports, but
Oh yeah, I love it. Sorry, I am reacting to this news over here. No, it's
no worries.
yeah, no, I'm excited. The sub reports, because like I've gotten so fast at it because that's what I
Yeah.
go to so often. But
Yeah.
at the same time, like yeah, that's huge. And the new stuff that's coming out, I'm
Yeah.
excited. And then I'll cap this off because I know we got, you know, short on time. Both of us got to
Yeah.
jump here at the top of the hour.
Yeah.
The algo thing, I think the algo thing is so cool, and I don't know if enough people know about this yet, but it just the quick, like I know you ran down earlier, but just if people want to just dive in to learn more, like, and you know, we don't have to do a full, hey, what is it, but just where can people learn more about this algo thing that's like literally taking the emotions out of trading altogether and just giving you straight up, hey, here's signals based on data.
Yeah. So if you go, can I just, you pull up my screen really quickly? So right up top here, if you go to the algos page, like I have the algos, so it's not going to show for me. But if you right here, like you'll be able to see exactly all of the things that you need for it. But because I have access to it, it's not going to show. But there is an entire page giving you the exact breakdown of what each algo, like how it works, how the signals work, like how it's customizable. So before you upgrade, like this is where you're going to go, or you can just go to the Edgeful YouTube and just search Edgeful algos on YouTube and it'll come up pretty much. Ignore what I said. Go to YouTube, Edgeful algos, and it'll come up. You'll see everything there. We have a bunch of videos on there, like breaking down what everything is. But yeah, man, that's it.
Perfect. Yeah, definitely. You got to check out the algo stuff, guys. If you haven't
Yeah.
checked it out, like, and you've heard there's a lot of people trying to do this stuff, but like, I've seen people trying to code their own strategies into it.
Yeah.
I like that, but what I like even more is when you have a quantifiable data back strategy
Exactly.
code in. Like that
Exactly.
is what I never wanted to see an algo in my life. Just like, oh, well, this guy, he's like, okay, if the EMAs are pointing up and this is RSI is at 25.
Yeah.
No, like I'm sorry, I don't. You can back test some of that stuff, I guess. But what I look at is how many times if I take this trade 10 times, how many times is it going to work? Is it going to work
Yeah.
6, 7, 8 times? Do I have an edge there on a risk
Yeah.
reward? Boom.
100%.
That's
Yeah.
what I'm looking for.
Yeah. And they're all customizable too. I said it before, but they're all customizable. So if you prefer a higher win rate, you can customize it that way. If you prefer a high risk to reward, you can customize it. So it is very personal to you and your personality, which is I think is absolutely critical. We're not telling you here's the holy grail, this is the best. We're giving you the foundation to actually be able to trade with an algo. But yeah.
Well, there you have it. Andre, appreciate you. I've got to jump here. I know you do as
Yep.
well. Always great having you on. We're going to try to do this more often, I think. We're going to try to
Yeah.
maybe once a month jump on here, just talk
Yeah.
Edgeful, talk new things that are coming out, talk how we're using current things, what's changing, what's updating, all that good stuff. And
For sure.
always great to have you on.
All right, man.
All right, my man.
Appreciate it. Have a good one.
Appreciate it, everyone. Y'all have a great rest of your day. I did drop below this on X. You'll see there's a link. If you want to jump in there, try it out. You can get 7 days free on me if you want it.
Yep.
I always say this, you guys, if you watch my streams, give it a month at least, figure it out. But that's it, guys. I'm out of here. Andre, take care. We'll see.